Hey, what is up, mortals? Welcome to Season 1 Part 5 of What If Villains Had an Academia. Just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat, and so we begin. Toga woke in a cold sweat, feeling the ethereal hands of all for one clasped around her throat. She knew the criminal overlord wasn't here, but the blonde bloodsucker could feel the malice returning to her mind that remained ever present while in the quirk amalgamation's presence. Emiko's usual, violent ways began to re-emerge out of necessity, knowing that if they were to be suppressed any longer, she would forfeit her sanity. A failed mission was akin to a death sentence to boot, and so far, she hadn't gotten any intel she could hold on to. She noted that everyone around her was still asleep, and something within Toga's mind clicked, rapidly scanning the room for anything to draw the sweet nectar of veins. The psychotic teen's gaze finally rested upon a kitchen knife set, pristinely squared upon the counter. With silent and practiced movements, Toga brandished the butcher's knife, feeling a semi-familiar weight in her hands. The weight of it snapped her out of her bloodlust, however, and reminded the blonde bombshell that she needed to stay undercover. Himiko's hand was incredulously hesitant to put down the weapon. The young criminal turned to Midoriya's mother, sleeping in peace and tranquility. Her bloodlust returned with a specific goal: to get closer to Izuku. What better way to get close to him than to get close to his mother? Himiko shuffled silently into the freckled hero's parents' room, unable to hold back a couple brisk giggles. She tentatively raised the knife above her head, knees bent towards one another slightly, face blushed and eyes alive. She thought about holding Izuku in her arms, of consoling him and loving him, of revealing herself once enough time had passed. She blinked out of her stupor, now laser-focused on the task at hand being completed as efficiently and silently as possible. The murderous adolescent plunged the knife downwards, prepared for a beautiful shower of savory blood, and drew nothing. Her arms were halted by powerful limbs, far stronger than she could imagine on the average person. She looked up, pouting, and saw the weird man that accompanied Toga to her beloved's home. The playful act of the self-reported villain was torn to shreds when she laid her eyes upon the officers, practically erupting with raw, unbridled determination and protective instincts. His face was solid and stern. He wore his frown plainly and effectively, even making the blonde bloodsucker question her actions. His posture was absolute, his position immovable. Himiko's body began to shake slightly, but not due to excitement. No, this was far different than excitement. This was bad. This was a sinking feeling she'd never known before, mind reeling and gut contorting until the vampiric mimic felt fully helpless and paralyzed. Toga feared what would happen to her. Would her cover be blown? Would she be sent to jail? Would she be slapped into death row? As her mind flashed countless images and her body reacted with intense acrobatics, the sadistic student looked at her arms. They were being slowly but firmly pulled away. Not hard enough to hurt, but not gentle enough to let her fight back. The knife was easily and respectfully removed from Toga's hands, and the bodyguard simply sighed, slumping over. "And just what do you think you're doing, Toga? We went over this. You need to be on your best behavior to prove you really want to attend UA. Stabbing a young man's mother is not going to further your goal. If anything, it'll send you back to square one." Himiko looked at the knife, then at the guard, and finally at Mama Midoriya, heaving a sigh and puffing out her cheeks childishly. The blonde bombshell whimpered, "I just wanted to get closer to Mrs. Midoriya so I could get closer to Izuku." At this, the scrawny security officer scratched the back of his head, leading Toga back out to the kitchen. He put the knife away as he talked, preparing some tea quietly as possible. Get closer to him by hurting his mother. How would that help? That's what people never get. Emiko turned away, but something within the vampiric mimic urged her to keep talking. Whether it was passion or a subconscious cry for help, she couldn't be sure. "I want to get close to people, get to know them. The best way to do that is to be them, and I can do that. Nobody ever gives me the chance willingly, so I need to take any chances I can get." She looked up to the rail-thin man, who just sighed and gave her a sad, concerned smile. "Himiko, you must realize that people don't want you to be them. They want you to be you. If people want to get to know you, then they need to know you and not someone who you turn into for a limited time. They also don't want you to be them. Does that make sense?" The empathetic officer eyed the sadistic teen, looking for any sign of recognition. There, of course, wasn't any. But you gotta become them and their loved ones. You need to get close and taste what it's like to be them, to feel it and to live it. It's the highest honor, the greatest gift, and the officer held up a hand to pause the captured criminal. They sat in silence for a moment, the bodyguard trying to figure out how to explain his thoughts. "Let me put it this way. If you truly care about someone, truly love someone, then you don't want to crawl into their skin or live in their shoes. You want to hold them close, treasure them, keep them from harm. You want to keep them close, keep them safe, keep them as them. If they love you back, or even care about you at all, then they'll want the same for you. Would you like it if you went home to loving parents and one day they were totally different people?" This gave Himiko pause. She'd never thought of it like that. She hated her parents, but she thought about if they'd become that way after supporting her, and the vampiric mimic loathed the notion. She shook her head, trying to clear out the cacophony currently residing within. But then, how do I show them I care about them? If they want me to be me, how do I show them that I want to be close to them? At this, the guard laughed. Toga huffed immaturely. Come on, Toga. Do you really need to ask? You show them you care by listening to what they like and gifting it to them in some way as a surprise. You show you're going to be there, and you carry them through rough times. That goes for friends, family, and lovers alike. Thinking quickly to appeal to her ego while also trying to aid the blood-sucking blonde. Young Himiko, I believe you could have a shot with Midoriya. You two are around the same age and will be starting off in the same grade level. If you want to stay with him, then you need to start. Relationships take time and hard work. Himiko scoffed, turning away. Of course it's hard. Everything has to be hard. That's why I wanted to be a villain. Life is so hard. Here you are just reinforcing it. At this, the bodyguard chuckled softly. Himiko, Toga, anything and everything in life worth having takes hard work. Villains try taking the easy way out and cheat others out of their hard work, and life gets hard for them. Heroes work hard from the start, and others are more inspired to work hard with us. If you want life to be easier, you need to work harder. Okay, HMPH. The psychotic teen yet again fell silent, indignant to the end but clearly understanding what this odd guard said. She turned around, ignoring the cup of tea that the bodyguard was pouring her. The guard merely smiled, pouring his own tea and returning to his post. The blood-sucking bombshell put her head down on the table, exhaling a shaky breath. She ensured her face was fully obscured. Her beliefs were flipped on their head, her mind constantly slamming into itself with further logic and connections only now being made clear, and it was making the teenage killer irritated. She felt something roll down her cheek, so the vampiric mimic buried her face further into her arms. Himiko Toga refused to let anyone here see her cry. Night fell in full effect as Achako's phone buzzed wildly beneath her side. She reflexively picked it up and turned off the alarm without looking at it. Tear-stained cheeks and tired, puffy eyes not even acknowledging its existence. Her pillow, ruined with tear stains, was tossed to the side as Achako practically threw herself out of bed, silently sneaking out of her window. She looked back once, only once, and gave a silent, tearful apology to her parents before using her quirk to float to the ground safely. I need to help them earn more, the gorgeous gravity manipulator muttered to herself, wiping the tears from her face. She ran as fast as she could, constantly checking the roughly scrawled address on the paper she was given yesterday. She made sure to give herself enough time to be early, missing sleep because of what she was going to do. If this is my only chance, then I need to take it, she said to herself pseudo-confidently, mind still racked with grief. As she entered, her gaze was fixed behind her, so she fell flat on her rear when she came mere centimeters away from perhaps the most intimidating figure she'd ever seen. A man, easily 6 feet tall and wearing a suit and horrid mask, chuckled with a voice made of gravel and tar. He extended a hand to the young girl, the name Achako Uraraka written roughly on his palm in black pen. The gravitational girl began trembling in fear, eyes going blank and mind growing foggy, before snapping herself out of it with a slap to her own face. She reached out and accepted the villain's hand confidently. My, you really are quite the determined one, aren't you, Achako? It seems I may have been brash in my judgment of you. Tell me, you wish to ensure your family's financial security, do you not? I do. Achako swallowed hard, biting her lip to keep herself from crying before forcefully halting her body's shaking. She bowed her head to the intimidating figure, as she was instructed to by the informant sent to her. Excellent. Now, I must inform you that this next part is going to be somewhat unpleasant. The billowing boss hesitated before placing a hand against Achako Uraraka's head, and almost instantly, Achako recoiled from the immense pain. Her mind ached and her body heaved, spasming with the new power imbued within her. Tears streamed out of her face as the levitating lass began foaming from the mouth, eyes nearly dying. Something within them, though, something in Uraraka's eyes refused to let go. Slowly but surely, her hand reached up and grabbed the hand of All for One, further pushing it weakly but steadily against her own forehead. At this, All for One grinned broadly. Taking off the mask, the conglomeration of quirks only smiled wider as this inexperienced youth urged him to give her more. I won't give in. Uraraka's eyes suddenly flared to life, determination nearly rivaling that of All Might. This prompted a minor shift backwards from All for One himself, who was simply becoming further enthralled by this newcomer. Then let me see if I can't optimize you. All for One bellowed, cackling as a massive wave of power imploded within the gravity girl. Her eyes immediately went black, her body crumpling to the ground and convulsing. Her mouth was frothing with spittle, eyes rolled back into her head, spine and pelvis struck hard by the concrete floor. The pain was too great, the power far too much at once, and Ochako lost consciousness. However, one last thought slipped through her mind, a realization. I'm still alive. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We The Celestials Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. I'd like to let you all know on behalf of We The Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 and older to join our crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whichever category of work that fulfills your interest. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.